In this video today, we're going to take a look at how we can create a camera that can get the limit of the level programmatically, so we don't have to set the limit in the inspector. And we're also going to see how we can make the camera follow the player smoothly. And we're also going to create a dead zone that's going to help us to control the movement of the camera when we are moving. So we have a zone in the middle that if our player is in, it can't, the camera doesn't automatically move. You can see here, for example, I am here, but it's only if I start to be around that portion of the screen that the camera starts to move. So let's dive in. So as a reminder of what we have done before, so we have our player that is like this, and you can see that the camera it doesn't move at the moment, which is a bit like weird. So what we need to do is we need to make that camera moving. So for making that camera moving, the first thing that I want to do is I want to put a script on that camera, because the thing that I want to do is I don't want to set up the limit of the camera manually for each level. I want to do it through code. So like this, I just have to instance my camera, and the camera will take care by itself of like getting the size of the level and then set the limit accordingly. So for doing so, what I need to do is I just need to go to my camera. Here I am on drag center. You can see that I have a zoom of 2 and 2. And now I need to just create a script. So up, I'm going here. And what I like to do at the moment is like, I like to create a folder for any type of item that I have. So here I'm going to create a folder. It's going to be called camera. And inside that folder, I'm going to have another folder called script. And then I'm gonna save my script right there. I'm not gonna call it camera 2D, I'm gonna call it camera follow, because maybe in the future you want to have a different type of camera. So here I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna click on create, and so now I have this. I'm gonna click on the output, click on the arrow here, so I have a bit more space. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get a reference to my ground tilemap that is right here, that is creating the ground of my level. So for that, I can go back to my script and I can take my ground, and before to release here, I just press on control, and it's gonna create my ground already var, and you can see that it gives the path to my ground. This I'm gonna use it to get the number of tiles that are filled. So like this, we're gonna be able to create a limit programmatically. The second thing I want to do is I want to do the same for my player. So I click on my player, I drag it here, and before to release it, I click on control, and then I release it, and it creates my player already var as well. So now the globally the logic that we need to do here is we need to have an export that we're going to use for creating what we call a dead zone. We want the player to start to move the camera only after he has passed a certain limit inside the level. So like this, the camera is not automatically following him all the times. Like it doesn't follow him like when he jumps all the time, for example, because it can be very annoying. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an export var, and I'm going to call it horizontal underscore dead underscore zone, and I'm going to set it to be equal to 30. Then I'm going to do the exact same thing for the vertical part. So it's going to be called vertical underscore dead underscore zone, and I'm going to also set it up to 30. Here I'm setting it to that number because those numbers work well with me. If you have a zoom of 2 or 3, that works pretty well. If you don't have a zoom of 2 or 3, like, then you need to make some try and to tweak that code a little bit. Then what we need to do is we need to create another export var. We're going to create follow underscore speed, and this is very important. That follow speed need to be at the exact same speed than the player, because the camera need to follow the player, and the player going to move at a specific speed. And so if the camera is following the player at a different speed than the player is moving, then you're going to have a jitter. And so here my player, you can see it is on like hold on, I'm going to come back here. My player move speed is on 120, and you can see that here my camera is on 120 as well. So now that we have done that, what we need to do is we need to actually create another function that's gonna be in charge of getting the size of the level. So for that function, I'm going to call it setup camera underscore limits like this. And here what we want to do is first, when we launch the level, we want to set the global position of our camera to the position of our player. So here we're going to say global underscore position is equal to player dot global position like this. So now here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new variable that I'm going to call useRect, and I'm going to set that variable to be equal to my ground dot get useRect. Voila. This function is in charge of getting all the tile that are filled inside my tilemap. This is a function that you have in the tilemap class. You can see that if I over the get useRect, we can see return a rectangle enclosing the use non-empty tile of the map. So it creates a rectangle around the tile that are filled. Now that we have done that, we can do the same thing. We can like create another variable that we're going to call cell size, and here what we can do is we can get the time or ground, sorry, I was typing tilemap, but like ground dot tile underscore set dot tile size. So here we are just getting the tile size of our tile set, which for me is, if I go here, 16 per 16. So that's what I'm doing here. That's what I'm referencing. I just need to close that. So voila. So now that we have done that, we can start to also encode our map size. So here we're going to get the map width, and we're going to set it to be use underscore rect dot size dot x multiply by cell size dot x. Like this. So here we are getting the number of used tile time or the size of our tile map, the size of our tile actually, and then we do the same for the map underscore height, and here we say use rect dot size dot y time cell size dot y, making sure that I haven't made any typo. That's good. So now that we have that, if we go back to our camera, we go here, and here we have limit left, top, right, bottom. So now, because we have encoded all of this, we can access that through code, and we can make sure that the camera has those right limit set accordingly to what we have set up here. So here, for example, the limit left, what I can do is like I can say limit underscore left, and I can set it to be my use underscore rect dot position dot x times my cell size dot x. Now for the limit right, what I can do is I can get limit right, and here I can set it to be equal to limit left plus map width plus map underscore width like this. Then I can get my limit top, and I can set it to be equal to my use underscore rect. And I can get the position.y, so position.y, and I can multiply it by my cell size.y like this, and then I can get the limit underscore bottom, and here I can set it to my limit underscore top plus map height. Voila, like this. So now we have the basic of our thing, and if you want to debug that, you can make a print, and here you can say tilemap limits, and here I can do something like this, and then I can put limit left, and I can say, for example, up like this. I'm gonna make some space, limit left, then limit right, and then boom, like this, and then limit top, then here I'm making some punctuation for the print, voila, and then limit bottom, and then boom, voila, so like this, that's good. And then we can also print, for example, our tilemap size in pixel, and we can say something like up like this, voila, and then I can get my map underscore width with map width with x and then map height y, like this. So now, yeah, I just need to put that here. Of course, that's a mistake. Voila. So that's cool. So now we have the basic of this. So what we can do is we can take our setup camera limit and we can put it right here. Voila. So let's see if it changed something. I'm launching the game. And for now, it doesn't change specifically nothing, as you can see. But you can see that at the bottom, it has printed the tilemap limit. So we have minus 224, this kind of thing, and we have the tilemap size right here. So it works, but it's just that now we need to apply logic to that. So the logic that we need to apply now is globally we need to create another function. So I'm going to collapse this one here, and I'm going to create another function that I'm going to call update camera underscore position. And here, the first thing we need to check is like just for us, if there is not a player. So if there is no player, we just return. So like this, we avoid having some error. So now what we need to do in that function is that we need to get the player position, get the camera position, and get the viewport size. So we need to create variable for that. So the first one, I'm going to call it player pose, and I'm going to set it to be equal to player.global position, like this. Then I'm going to create another variable that I'm going to call camera pose, and this one I'm going to set it to global position. So this is the position of the camera. And then here I'm going to get another variable that I'm going to call viewport size, and I'm going to set it to be equal to my viewport. So get underscore viewport, which is a function in Godot that is returning the size of the viewport. You can see right here. And here we need to get dot size, and here we need to divide it by the zoom, because the size of the viewport is going to change depending the type of zoom that we have. If you don't have a zoom, my project setting, the window is on 1150 and 648. But if I multiply my zoom by 2, that means that I'm dividing that viewport by 2. So then my viewport become 576, and this one become 324. So this is something important to get in mind, and so this is why I am like dividing it by the zoom. So now that we have done that, what I can do is here I need to create a little comment, and I'm gonna say here that I'm calculating my calculating target position. So here what I'm doing is like I'm taking a new variable that I call target pose, and I'm setting it to be equal to my camera.pose. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to code the horizontal movement. So I'm just going to make a little comment, horizontal movement, logic, like this. And so here I need to get the player position. So I'm going to make a little calculation. So player pose dot x minus camera pose dot x. And then we need to check if it's greater than horizontal dead zone. If it's the case, then what we want to do is we want to return our target pose dot x to be equal to our player underscore pose dot x. Here, what we need to do is before to make that check, we need to make sure that we are returning the absolute number. Otherwise, that will be a bit problematic. So now that we have done that, what we can do is we can check the vertical movement. So the vertical movement right here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say if player underscore pose dot y is smaller than camera pose dot y, making no typo, yes, vertical minus our vertical dead zone, like this. Then here we need to say that our target underscore pose dot y is equal or player underscore pose dot y. Voila, that's good. And LF player underscore pose dot y is greater than our camera pose dot y, then plus our vertical dead zone, voila. Then here what we need to do is we need to get our target pose, target underscore pose dot y to be equal player pose dot y, like this. So here we are making the little calculation that we need for the vertical movement. So now what we need to do is we need to smooth the movement to the target. Otherwise, it's going to be very choppy. That's not automatically something that you want. So here, smoothly move to target. So for doing so, what we need to do is we just need to get our position.x, and we need to set up to move toward, and we get our position.x, we get our target pose.x, then we get our follow speed, and we multiply it by the delta. Voila. So the delta, I need to pass it into the update, the update camera, I think. Yes, I need to pass it here. Voila, so now it's good. And so here what I'm doing is like I'm assigning the position of the camera to all those little variables that we have created, and the follow speed and the delta. So now that this is done, we are almost good. Now we have like just some line to code, just in case we are getting out of a specific type of situation. So here what I want to do is I want to make an if statement. So here I'm going to check if my player pose.y is greater than my camera pose.y. Then here what I want to do is that means here that I'm falling. So here I'm just going to say falling. So here what I want to do is I want to get my position.y, and I want to set it to be equal to move underscore toward. And here we're going to get my position.y. I'm going to get a target pose.y. I'm going to take the player.velocity.y. And the reason why I'm doing that is because here we are falling. And when we are falling, my player go back to the gravity thing, so the gravity variable. So in my camera code, normally my movement is follow speed 120, but when I'm falling, globally, like the camera gonna be behind my player because my player gonna fall way quicker than my camera can follow it. So here the simple trick is that I get the player velocity.y, so when I fall, so like this, the camera is at the same speed than my player. And then what I need to do is I need to code else. And so here I'm going to say position.y, and here I'm going to set it to be equal to move toward, like this. And so here I'm going to get my position.y, I'm going to get my target pose dot y, and here I'm going to get my follow speed times the delta. Voila. And so now, no, I want to save, voila. So now what I want to do is I want to put that function that is like updating the camera in a function that is updating regularly the game. And here, because the camera is following the player and the movement of my player are updated in a function that is called physics process delta, because my player uses physics, I need to do the same for the camera. So for the camera, what I need to do here is I'm going to put it here. So here I'm going to create a physics process delta, and I'm going to call my update camera position in that function like this. Voila. And normally I have forgotten nothing, so let's have a look. Here I have an error because I just used the wrong function. I need to use get viewport rect, not get viewport. So voila. So that's cool. So now let's have a look. Can I follow? Yes, the camera is like following my player, and you can see that, for example, if I go here on top, like it doesn't go on top, and if I go here, you can see that there's no, we don't see what's going on here. And now I can move around like that, and it follow my player smoothly. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my player, to my scene, and I'm going to get my ground, and I'm going to make sure that, for example, so I go back here, and like I'm going to erase some part of the level like this. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to extend the level quite dramatically like this. I'm going to do something like that. Probably something like this. Probably something like that. I think I'm going to do something like this, and then I'm going to move that here. So like this, we have a very big level, you see. So we can test quite a lot of things. So I'm gonna put that here, and this one I'm gonna put it here. And so then I'm gonna just make some random shape right there, something like this, voilà, just so we can move a little bit better. So now, if I launch the game, you can see that I'm gonna also like make sure that the game change a little bit. So here I'm gonna, voilà, put it like this. And so here you can see that, for example, I can move around like that. And now, like, the camera is completely locked into the size of the tile map, which is what I want, because like this I don't have to redo all the limit and by hand every time, which is very, very annoying. And you can see that right now everything works fine, and I can move around, and that's perfect. And if you want, you can also, for example, like go to the camera, and here you can change the horizontal dead zone. You can play around with this. I'm just gonna also do something else. Project setting, I'm gonna go to my window, and I'm gonna go here, and I'm gonna put the stretch mode to viewport. So like this, when I resize, I'm always making the same mistake. First like this, then up like this, and then now when I, why is it doing this? So now let's see, up, I'm gonna put that like this. So now you can see that it works fine, and I have also increased a little bit my my dead zone. And so here you can play around. You can play around with all of this, and that will work very fine. And now you have a camera that is following the player, that is getting the size of your level, that is making sure that you don't get out of your level and you don't show stuff like here, for example. Here it's not fully perfect, but this is because of that little edge that I have created right here. This is because of that. So here, for example, if I go back to my ground and I get this, if I make, for example, something like this, up, voila, it's not gonna do it's annoying. Something like this, something like this. So then it will work. So I come back here, I'm moving around, and so if I go there, you're gonna see that it's gonna work perfectly fine. Voilà. And see, like the limit is set up nicely. So that's perfect. So that's all for me. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If it's the case, don't hesitate to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And me, I will see you in the next one. Bye.